Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Misfit Roundtable discussion. Today we are going to cover MFT 1125 and specifically the 3 max sets of overhead squats at 155 or 105 with a 30 rep cap per set and a 2-minute rest between each effort. Why the hell would we do that?
You know, I used to get upset about us repeating ourselves all the time. But sometimes if you just take a point and hammer it home over and over and over, people will start to realize what we're talking about. If people go into a workout, and this could absolutely be an open workout if it was just one of the shorter versions, or this could absolutely be a regionals workout. It would definitely be in a local competition if that's your thing. A huge set of 155 overhead squats. What can you do? What are you capable of doing? Did you quit because you had to? Did you quit because you wanted to? What happened in the next set? Where was your heart rate at if you had to go to the rower after to do this or do that? You will never know unless you try it, unless you push it, unless you go past what you would do in a Metcon and really figure it out. And, you know, people always want the secret, and the secret is putting yourself through it, reevaluating, and doing it again.
I can't believe that that's a secret.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's
right.
so funny because it's so easy to explain and so hard to execute. And
I
people
know.
want it to be complicated. People want me, you know, what's the VO2 max? Can I measure, you know, no. Do as many fucking overhead squats as you can. Try it again. See what happens.
Why I like this so much, and this is the second time that this movement will come up in the accessory like this, and it's heavier this time. And I think specifically with movements like the overhead squat is, I think everyone's felt a day where they're in the groove and they feel the bar up over their head and it's smooth, straight up and down. Your feet don't move. You never go chase a rep forward.
It's like
You're
a lunar eclipse.
So
easy.
moving.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so easy,
It's a
right?
groove,
When you have
yeah.
it right. It's a groove, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that day and your shoulders don't want to rotate, or your hips are tight, or you haven't set your feet correctly, or you're in the middle of a Metcon and you put your hands on the bar in the wrong place, too wide, too narrow, whatever, and you just don't feel quite right, it's like you're fucking working against the hardest force ever that's about to fall down on you, right? There's a huge difference between these two feelings that we get. If we pull this out of a workout and give you the opportunity to practice it and actually look objectively at the way that you're setting up for a simple movement for a competitor, right? Where are your hands actually going on the bar? Where are your feet actually set up underneath you? You know, how fast are you supposed to cycle through these movements, like these reps? How fast are you supposed to go? Where is your sweet spot? In a workout when you're fatigued, you don't think about any of that shit. You're just like, I got to get through the reps. We're giving you the chance to learn something about this movement in particular and how it affects you on its own. So it's a chance for you to find that groove, and maybe you know how to get into that groove now each time, and then you can find that much easier in a Metcon. That's why I like it.
I think it's just like building practice habits. Like you just said, you get used to doing this now, and then you realize that if you are going to approach an open workout and things aren't feeling the same way, what are you doing differently? Like,
right.
I think that's the biggest thing here is that if you learn that your hips aren't loose or your shoulders aren't where they need to be, why would you attempt to do an open workout where you only get like maybe 2 good attempts in the short window they give you each year? You got to make sure those things are ready to go. And again, it goes back to experience. Practice something you're going to do over and over again and get comfortable with it so that every time it happens, it's the same movement. It's not something different each time.
And you could try something new too, because you don't have a whole Metcon time that you're afraid to post at stake, right? So now I could play with something different on my next set. I could say, what happens if I move my hands in an inch on each side? Am I more stable? Have I found my groove even better? Or is that way more uncomfortable and worse? What happens? What if? We don't take the time to find that stuff out, especially not in Metcons.
No.
When I think about this, I think about it for experience and planning purposes. So if I look at a set of overhead squats at 155 and I go for a max set and I'm not thinking about anything else, I'm just going for it, and I factor in all these things that you guys are talking about, and I know I get to, let's say I get to 20, whatever, and I know it comes into a Metcon and I'm under fatigue and there's a set of 20, or let's say there's a set of 30. It gives me some experience to know how to approach that workout. I wouldn't expect to hit a set of 20 in that Metcon unbroken if it's got a bunch of stuff before it and I'm going to be fatigued. So I know, okay, at this point I'm going to have to probably maybe do 2 sets of 10 or 15 and 5, something like that, and I can plan accordingly for the rest of the stuff. Or I can also say, oh, I can only do 20 overhead squats at 155. That's my max set. Like, I know this is more of a weakness than I thought it was going to be. So I need to spend a little bit more time here, figure out how can I really build up this set. So to me, I think it has a lot of carryover to planning purposes and knowing what you're capable of and knowing, you know, what to go for, I think, in some Metcon.
Yeah, it's no reason not to try. You have nothing before, like you
Right.
said. You should, this is your chance.
And when that comes up in a Metcon, let's say a set of 30 comes up in a Metcon, are you going to ruin your Metcon by going for broke and trying to go unbroken there? And then, you know, you ruin your Metcon. This allows you to do it in a safe kind of environment where you're not ruining
let you know
your
if it's your
Metcon.
brain or your body, too.
Right.
Is it your brain quitting or your body not able to squat it anymore, which I think is another cool part of this piece.
One thing I worry about with a piece like this, though, for the average blog follower, is somebody just jumping right in and going through the motions just because, oh, they said hit 3 sets. Okay, there's my 3 sets. I'm done. And not maybe prepping the way that they should. How would you guys prep before you went into a piece like this?
I mean, I look at the requirements for this movement. You need to have shoulder mobility, T-spine mobility, hip mobility, ankle mobility. If you don't prep those things and make sure that before you even decide to touch 155, that you do some with an empty barbell, then 95, then maybe 135, then 155 to make sure things are moving well. I mean, even though it says 155 and this is an accessory piece, correct?
Correct.
That doesn't mean you don't warm up for an accessory piece. I know some
Right.
people are just like, oh, it's the accessory piece. Let's go do my 50 strict pull-ups and call it a day. Like, you need to attack each part of the blog with a purpose. And if you don't have purpose in this, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, they're not valuing it if they're not,
Yeah.
you know, taking the same time to warm up for this as they would for a Metcon
Yeah,
or a lift.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, they're not valuing it. So
I think being that this is an optional piece, it's not a mandatory piece, the people who are choosing this probably struggle a little bit with overhead squats. And when you struggle with a movement, it's easy to not warm it up enough. Because you think, man, this movement's gonna suck. You know, I'm not really into it. So not truly warm it up. So this is a great opportunity to do a full warm up, like he said, to really prepare your body as well as possible. And if that allows you to actually hit really good sets of overhead squats here and have success with this, and thinking about your positioning and all that kind of things, then you know, okay, overhead squats are in a Metcon. I know what I have to do. If I don't do this, I'm probably going to suck at overhead squats. So it sets you up for success later on too.
I think that there's a really simple concept at play here that if you just scale out like a normal day in the gym. So if you take, we've got 2 pood kettlebell swings, and I know that I'm probably dating myself back a little bit, and I should, you know, get up with the times. But you swing, you go swing the 88 prior to grabbing the 2 pood bell, or that day that you are dumb enough to throw 225 on your back, and the rare occurrence that we have back squats in a WOD, what it feels like when you don't warm it up properly. If you scale that out and you say it's 155 here, but we know it's probably going to be 105, maybe 115, maybe 95, 75, whatever in the open, I think that just does something for a person on a level that's not even really about your capacity. It's about, like, I'm worried about 9 reps at 95, and I just did 30 at 155.
Right.
And I just feel like that just does something for people. You know, again, whether you're trying to prime your central nervous system or whether you're trying to prime your confidence. So
that goes back to perception of effort. It's exactly what that covers, is just once you've experienced something beyond where you thought you were, everything before that feels much easier, and you can wrap your brain around it as being, oh, I can easily tackle that. Before you experience something like that, it feels like an impossible task. So, yeah, it's another reason for you to really give it a go and, again, prep all the way through so that when you put the bar over your head, you're not dropping it at 13 and making that face and grabbing your shoulder. Oh, man, yeah, oh, this sucks. I mean, that's just, we see that too much, so. Any last words?
I would just think of the last thing about this is just approach pieces with purpose. You know, everything has a purpose on the blog, and if you don't attack every single piece on the blog for whatever day it is with a purpose, you're wasting your time.
don't do it.
Yeah, think about what you're doing and try to accomplish with each piece.
All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.